By then, we had stories of these aliens raiding chicken coops and sucking the blood from dogs and unsuspecting infants. A solid number of these politicians campaigned for office on a platform of alien repatriation, and many of them won. Shortly afterwards, one of two aliens resettled in Huntingdon, England, was set upon and beaten to death with bricks by a gang of teenage girls and boys. Then, in Houston, a juvenile alien was doused in gasoline and set on fire. We picked at our dinners without appetite, worrying about these promising youths who had been headed for sports scholarships and elite universities. The aliens jeopardized all our futures and clouded all our dreams. We wrote letters, signed petitions, and prayed to the heavens for salvation. It came. From out of a silent sky, rockets shaped like needles and polished to a high gloss descended upon six of the major capitals of the world. About an hour after landing, giving the television crews time to jostle for position, and at precisely the same instant, six slim doors whispered open, and the most gorgeous beings we had ever seen strode down extruded silver steps and planted themselves before the houses of power, waiting to be invited in. And they were. "Forgive us for imposing on your valuable time," these ambassadors said simultaneously in the official languages of the six legislatures. Cameras panned over them, and excitement crackled through us, for this was the kind of history we wanted to be a part of. When they emerged from their needle ships, their bodies were fluid and reflective, like columns of quicksilver. But with every minute among us, they lost more and more of their formless brilliance, dimming and thickening, acquiring eyes, foreheads, chins, and hands. Within half an hour, they resembled us perfectly. Or rather, they resembled what we dreamed of being, the better versions of ourselves who turned heads, drove fast cars, and recognized the six most expensive whiskeys by smell alone, whose names topped the donor rolls of operas, orchestras, and houses of worship, who were admired, respected, adored. We looked at these beautiful creatures whom we no longer thought of as aliens, and saw ourselves as we could be if the lottery, or the bank, or our birthplace, if our genes, or a lucky break, if only. We listened raptly as they spoke in rich and melodious voices, voices we trusted implicitly, that called to mind loved ones and sympathetic teachers. "A terrible mistake has been made," they said. "Because of our negligence, a gang of war criminals, guilty of unspeakable things, namely—" Here their translators failed, and the recitation of crimes came as a series of clicks, coughs, and trills that nevertheless retained the enchantment of their voices. "Escaped their confinement and infiltrated your solar system. We are deeply sorry for the trouble our carelessness has caused you. We admire your patience and generosity in dealing with them, though they have grossly abused your trust. Now we have come to set things right. Remit the 64 aliens to us, and we will bring them back to their home system. They will never disturb you again." The six beautiful beings clasped their hands and stepped back. Silence fell throughout the legislative chambers of the world. Here was our solution. Here was our freedom. We had trusted and been fooled. We had suffered unjustly. We were good people with clean consciences, sorely tried by circumstances outside our control. But here was justice, as bright and shining as we imagined justice to be. We sighed with relief. In Berlin, a woman stood. "Even the little ones," she said, "even the children are guilty of the crimes you allege?" "Their development is not comparable to yours," the beautiful one in Berlin said, while his compatriots in their respective state houses stood silent with inscrutable smiles. "The small ones you see are not children as you know them, innocent and helpless. Think of them as beetle larvae. They are destructive and voracious, sometimes more so than the mature adults." "Still," she said, this lone woman, "I think of them as children. I have seen the grown ones feeding and caring for them. I do not know what crimes they have committed, since our languages cannot describe your concepts, but they have sought refuge here, and I am especially unwilling to return the children to you." The whispers of the assembly became murmurs, then exclamations. "Throw her out! She does not speak for us." "You are misled," the beautiful one said, and for a moment its smile vanished,